and welcome back everyone to the video series dedicated show on MTV that has crowned its new champion. That's right, we're talking about The Challenge Season 39, Battle for a New Champion, as well as they crowned their second and third place, and then everybody else. But before we can talk about the winner and who got first, second, and third, let's start off where last episode left off, and that was Emmanuel winning the chaos portion of the final, winning safety and power to nominate one person into elimination. And Emmanuel chooses Nerys. Oh my gosh, I'm completely shocked. Who could have seen that coming? I mean, everybody could see from a mile away that Emmanuel was going to send Nerys into the elimination. Now, what was kind of a little bit fun and exciting was that there was a draw. Nerys had 6 polls to choose from. 4 of them had names and 2 of them were chaos. Nerys goes and picks a poll, and lo and behold, it is Mariah's poll. So we have Nerys versus Mariah in a puzzle elimination. They were given like these foam brick puzzle pieces, and they have to fit them into a special puzzle box. Now, coming into this elimination, hearing that it is a puzzle, I was feeling like Nerys had the upper hand. Nerys was able to win, stay in the finals, and Mariah's final hopes were dashed as she exits the finals midway through, or 2/3 the way through, because now we're heading into the conquest portion, where the overnight segment of this final is very similar to the first night ever on the Challenge 39, where back in the launch special, everybody was having to do random tasks, like pulling out tiles using only their fingers, and then bring them up to the top and pull them out. This is very interesting because once you get all your tiles out, if you're one of the first out, you can then sabotage people by putting your tiles in their boxes and giving them extra work to do. And if you're one of the first 3 to get this done, then you can pick either a blanket, a pillow, or a chair. Now, before TJ exits, he tells everybody to not go to sleep. If you go to sleep, you will regret it in the morning. Which to me, I know that they don't sleep a lot anyways. I mean, they're out on like a gravel beach, a rock beach. But at the same time, like, why can't they go to sleep? I understood when there was something they had to do at night, or they would incur a penalty, like one person can stand on a log while the other person gets to sleep. To me, I'm not a huge fan of just not sleeping for the heck of it. Give them different tasks to do throughout the night, and if they get it done, then they can sleep. I don't know. That's just my opinion on the whole situation. To me, in some of these checkpoints, it just felt like they were doing it just to do it. There was no like cohesive vision. Like in the chaos checkpoint, where they were having to carry the boxes, they could have had something in the boxes that could have been used for a different checkpoint to where the final would look like one sleek vision. But instead, they just moved boxes just to move boxes. And that's how I felt with the sleeping portion. Nerys was able to get the tiles done first. She sabotaged Emmanuel, Colleen, and Berna. Then Emmanuel was able to finish second. It looked like he sabotaged Colleen and Corey. He took the pillow after Nerys took the blanket. And then Berna was able to finish third. She took the chair. Then Corey took fourth. And Colleen finished last at 5th. Nobody slept. They were going delirious. They all just kept each other awake until at 5:30 or around 5:30 a.m. Croatia time. TJ came floating around on his boat, telling them the final portion of the final, which is the conquest portion, where everybody was going to have to swim 2,000 meters to a neighboring island that housed 3 checkpoints that they're going to have to complete. After they finish those 3 checkpoints, it is a sprint to the finish line. The first person to finish all the checkpoints and cross the finish line will win. I knew with this swimming portion up first that Nerys was going to start off in last place in 5th, but she was able to easily overtake Berna, who has not been doing well at the sprinting portions, which majority of this is just running now, especially in this conquest portion. Checkpoint number 1 is rappelling down this cliffside and then keep on running until you get to a tanagram. This is like a special tanagram where you're gonna have to put the tanagram pieces and finishing the tanagram around this solid piece that's already set up for you in your puzzle. The arrivals were Emmanuel in 1st, Colleen in 2nd, Corey 3rd, Nerys 4th, and Berna 5th. As well as once you arrive at the first checkpoint and read the sign and understand what you're trying to do, that's when TJ gives you another tuna beet mayo drink that you have to drink right on the spot. Everybody got it down except for Berna, who felt like she could not drink this anymore. She couldn't drink another drop. Berna just breaks down yet again, yet everybody rallies around her, tells her to just drink it one drop at a time, and she gets it down to stay in the competition. Once that was over, we have Corey freaking out about the rappel. Corey thinks that this is the scariest thing that they have had to do on the challenge thus far, which I find rather shocking to hear that he thinks that the rappelling is the scariest thing after knowing that they were strapped to a windmill on the side of a truck. They even jumped off of a tower to try to get to the bottom of the rope with a braking system, which I would find scarier than this. I think it's the not sleeping. I think it's the stress levels that got to Corey in this moment. But TJ told them, like, it's fine. You'll be fine. You can do this. Everybody will do this. Nobody's quitting on my watch. And nobody did. Everybody got ready. Everybody got set. They all had staggered starts by how they arrived to this checkpoint. So Emmanuel was able to go first. Then Colleen, Corey, Nerys, and Berna. They all arrived at the puzzle station with Emmanuel first, Corey second, Nerys third, Colleen fourth, Berna fifth. But when it comes to puzzles, Colleen felt rejuvenated. She felt like she had a second wind. So even though she arrived at the puzzle fourth, just slightly behind Corey and Nerys, she was able to finish second. So Emmanuel gets it done, takes off for the next checkpoint, Colleen gets it done, and runs off. Then the three of Corey, Nerys, and Berna all time out, which I'm actually pretty shocked that Nerys timed out on this puzzle. But she's not too far behind Corey. The problem is that they arrived at the puzzle station after Emmanuel, and Emmanuel did not time out. So now you can surmise that he has a pretty decent head start on the rest of the group. They arrive at checkpoint 2, which is a water-based checkpoint where players are going to have to down another tuna beet mayo juice and then swim out to a buoy that on the bottom of it has a legend of a whole bunch of champions' names. You're going to have to memorize and replicate that on your own board back on shore. And once you do that, you can take off to the third and final checkpoint. Now, this puzzle is rather interesting because if you take a look at the columns, they switch between women champions, men champions, women champions, men champions, women champions, men champions, and they go from the earliest champion down to the most recent. So take a look at the first column where we have Veronica, who won in season 3, 7, and 8. Sarah is underneath her. We have to assume that they're talking about Sarah Grayson, who won in season 7. Then you have Jody, who won 11 and 13. Paula, who won 21 and 24. Sarah Rice, who won in season 26 and season 28, as well as Amber, who won in season 36. And that's pretty much the order of the entire puzzle. One name that I do want to mention here is Danny. That is not Danny McRae from the Challenge USA. That is not Danny Jameson, who is not a champion. That is Danny Roberts from Battle of the Seasons 2002, who won with his Real World team. I didn't know if anybody was confused by that. Colleen seemed to be struggling a little bit at this, but Emmanuel was so focused and his memory was really good despite the lack of sleep, despite the lack of calories and everything. He was able to get this done and take off for the third and final checkpoint. Nerys and Corey show up to this checkpoint and they're trying to work on it, but they know time is ticking. If they do not work together, Emmanuel could be running away with this thing. So they decide that they're going to work together. So they finish second and third, they take off, and then Colleen and Berna are left. Colleen is getting frustrated, Berna is way behind. They say that they're going to work together, but Colleen is able to finish this up, and then she takes off for the last checkpoint, and Berna just copies off of her. The third and final checkpoint is very much like the Conquest elimination, where instead of 3 puzzle checkpoints that you have to complete, you have to do 5. Complete all 5, and then you'll be able to head off and run to the finish line. The 5 checkpoints are designated by color. You have the yellow checkpoint, which is Sudoku. You have the white checkpoint, which is using circles, dots, and circles in dots to figure out an equation. The blue checkpoint is using a hammer to smash a barrel into a pancake and fit it into a box. The orange checkpoint is moving a whole bunch of colored discs so that each color has their own column, and then the turquoise is stacking up the little blocks and then raising them up for 10 seconds. Easily, the Sudoku and the stacking are the toughest. I think the hammer one is the easiest out of all of them. I don't even think that that's a puzzle. That's just taking out some frustration. Emmanuel, who has a decent sized lead or thinks he has a decent sized lead at this point, decides he's going to do Sudoku, the most mentally taxing as well as probably one of the longest of all of the puzzles. He's taking his time with this, and then Corey and Nerys show up and they do a couple of other tasks before even trying to tackle Sudoku, and they get out to an early lead. They each get 2 flags before Emmanuel decides that he's going to drop where he's at Sudoku, take off, and start doing other tasks. He's able to make up some time, as well as Colleen and Berna find themselves at the 3rd and final checkpoint. So all 5 players are there, and then you also have 3, Corey, Nerys, and Emmanuel, all having 3 flags each. As I mentioned, the 2 puzzle stations that gave everybody a run for their money was Sudoku and the stacking one. It was coming down to the wire at one point. I mean, Colleen and Berna getting there last, but making a surge with these puzzles as Colleen came in, went straight to Sudoku, was the first to finish it, despite coming in well in the back of the pack, with other people struggling with the Sudoku, left the door open wide for her. As she was able to start making up some ground, Berna, even though she may or may not have looked at the Sudoku, which I have a confirmation that maybe she had looked at the Sudoku as I talked to Emmanuel in an exit interview over at patreon.com/angelgagebids. Some people were tempted to look, and some people did indeed look, despite production yelling at people for looking at the other puzzles. It comes down to a 5-way tie, with everybody needing just 1 flag each. Now, what helped Emmanuel is that he had already put so much time in the Sudoku. And really, I was worried for Nerys because she was so close. I was thinking that she could really win this thing. But she had 2 puzzles that she needed to accomplish: Sudoku and the stacking. She was getting frustrated with Sudoku, so she decided to run over and start doing the stacking, which then frustrated her more. So then she went back to do Sudoku and try to finish that one up. By going back and forth on those 2 puzzles towards the end, I felt like that was going to take off some major time for her, whereas Emmanuel just had to focus on 1 puzzle, and that was the Sudoku. And he was able to finish it. He was able to get his 5th flag. He takes off for the finish line to meet up with TJ. Something else I was kind of worried about was that Nerys knew about the stacking one from a previous elimination, and it was giving her some troubles during that one as well. So coming into this, I thought that there was going to be like this mental block, but she was able to complete it. She got her 5th flag, 2nd out of everybody. She starts taking off running, hoping to catch up with Emmanuel. However, that was not the case. Emmanuel was able to cross the finish line, talk with TJ. TJ said, "Congratulations, you finished. You won $250,000 and are the newest challenge champion." Nerys comes up behind, gets 2nd place and $60,000. And now it is a race between Corey and Colleen to see who is going to get 3rd place and $30,000. From the edit, it looks like Corey gets his 5th flag, finishing up Sudoku. He's trying to get to a station, but it's his biggest rival of the season. No, I'm not talking about Big T. I'm not talking about Melissa. I'm talking about a balance beam. That's right. It's his biggest weakness. And he had some real struggles with this balance beam. It takes him so long to get past this balance beam that Colleen is able to stack up her pieces, lift it up, hold it for 10 seconds, get the thumbs up from production, grab her flag, get to her station, drop it off, and take off running. Now, I was thinking, Corey, if he could just get past his balance beam, he's got longer strides, longer legs, he could probably catch up with Colleen, no problem. However, despite the edit trying to make it seem like this was going to be a close race for 3rd place and $30,000, when you look in the background of Colleen running up to TJ, Emmanuel, and Nerys, there's nobody behind her. You can't see Corey back there. So to me, I think that this was a little magic by the editing team to try to make it seem way closer than it is. Colleen looks to have easily secured 3rd place and $30,000, where Corey finishes 4th, and Berna, I'm sure she finished all the checkpoints. Either way, she finishes 5th, and that, my friends, is how this final and this season ends. with Emmanuel being crowned a challenge champion, Nerys getting second place, Colleen getting third, Corey getting fourth, and Berna getting fifth. And then we get this screen of Emmanuel photoshopped in the midst of all the champions that were on this season. And that is it. I mean, I really can't believe that this season is done and we have a new champion. 18 weeks, because we had episode 3 and episode 4 combined at one point. So with 18 weeks, 19 episodes, and here we are at the end. I can't believe it. But can you believe that we are done with this season, minus the final 2 episodes for the reunion? Let me know down in the comment section below. What did you think about all the checkpoints, the format of this final? Which part did you like the most? Did you like Control, Chaos, or Conquest? What did you think about the overnight segment? And what do you think about the top 3 finishers, as well as our newest crowned champion, Emmanuel? Let me know anything and everything you felt about this season down in the comment section below. I now want to give a special shout out thank you to everyone who supports me over at patreon.com/angelkvids. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you. And thank you to everyone who's watching this video up to this point. I'll be back really soon with more Challenge 39 content, more challenge content, more content in general. But until then, peace.